You can now start filing your taxes with the IRS. This afternoon, our financial expert, Paul Hood from Hood CPAs, is with us to discuss what you need to know before you file. Paul, thanks for being here virtually with us.
You bet. Thank you for having me.
Yep. So we got some questions for you. It's a busy time of year for you. We know that. What are some of the changes from last year that we need to keep in mind for this year?
Well, so a couple of things. Progressively, the IRS, one of the major things for us anyways, about 65% of their staff is almost retirement age. And every year it gets a little more complicated, there's a few more errors. So I would tell people to either get in pretty early or try to file an extension to get outside of that madness. It's kind of like being on a busy 6-lane highway, cars going all different directions. You have a greater chance of having a wreck. And actually, my experience is most IRS audits happen on returns that are filed between March 1st and April 15th. Second thing that people need to know, the deadline this year, I believe, is actually April 18th instead of April 15th. Washington, D.C. has their own holiday for Emancipation Day, and it kind of messes things up if the 15th falls on a weekend. So we get to work a few extra days.
All right, so for someone whose filing status has changed, whether they're now married or no longer being claimed by their parents, what do they need to know?
Well, what they need to know is, in the past, we had to really watch out for, they had all the stimulus payments and advanced child tax credits. This year, it's not as bad. So the transition of changing filing statuses shouldn't be too bad. One of the major things, if you're going single and that now you're married, is there's information that has to be put on the return for both the husband and wife or spouse or whatever that is from your prior year return. So be sure you have the prior year return. Second thing is, especially if you're filing with somebody that kind of made a whole lot more money than you did last year, that could impact whether they have to pay a penalty. If you didn't pay much tax and they paid quite a bit, but the two of you together didn't quite pay enough, there could be some penalties. So there really needs to be that first year, some planning as to whether you should file married filing joint, married filing separate. Another thing is there's a concept, if you're marrying somebody that has some tax problems or some, back child support or whatever, the IRS will take your refund, your part of the refund, if they owe money or for student loans, those kind of things. So you want to file what's called an injured spouse form so that they only take the money that would be allocated to the person that actually owes the tax.
A lot to keep in mind. We've heard a lot about this child tax credit. What do families need to know about that?
Well, the good thing is we didn't get the advance this year. So what they need to know, but it kind of catches people off guard. If your income goes too high, you don't get it. If a child goes to age 17 and above, you don't get it, or you get a smaller amount. The one thing that people really need to know is there's a box. So if I've got a child who's 18, 19 years old, that I don't get the child tax credit. If they're in college or still in school, there's a little box you check, and there's $500 that you can get. So you don't get the full child tax credit, but you can get $500. A lot of people miss that, and you just have to tell the IRS or check the box or let us know that they're still a full-time student. That's $500.
All right, good advice. Paul, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll see you guys.
All right, see ya.